Welcome to HITC Sport. Alright, let's just see what happened in Premier League game week 22. Alright, let's go. Man City 1, Chelsea 0. Thomas Tuchel is getting sacked this year. Tuchel, honestly, put your house up for sale. I mean, the next time your next door neighbour in Swanage invites you to play poker in his shed, just say no. There's no point. Does anyone want to tell me that I'm wrong? Go on, to any Chelsea fans, if you were offended by this prediction, then honestly, okay, let's make a deal. If he's not gone by Halloween this year, then I will gladly walk 10 miles wearing nothing but a Tesco carrier bag around my waist. But if I'm right, then you all have to turn up to Stamford Bridge with placards saying the Irish guy was right. Let's go back to last May, and Tuchel was seen as a genius, right? Held up there in the same breath as Pep Guardiola and Klopp. I mean, he had taken a Frank Lampard pancake-shaped mess of a team and turned them into European champions overnight, right? Well, despite looking like a middle-aged librarian capable of a crazy killing spree, Chelsea fans would gladly have let him bite off the head of their firstborn. I mean, they would happily sign over the deeds of their house. They would let him take a diarrhea dump on their coffee table. Anything, right? Because he was their very own German god. But I'm sorry, no, this guy is a dead man walking. Right now, this man is a German zombie. You can almost smell his Chelsea career decomposing in front of our eyes. Yep, it smells like the bathroom of my nan's nursing home. And most of the people there wind up making in the sink. It's not as if he arrived at Stamford Bridge with a world-class stock who instantly had the full backing of the Stamford Bridge board. No. This fella was seen as a disruptive, argumentative headache who'd just been sacked by PSG on Christmas Day. I mean, clearly he didn't care about his feelings. It's like breaking up with someone on their birthday. Kind of shows what a nightmare he must have been. But clearly Chelsea weren't exactly frothing over his face, considering they tried to appoint Ralph Rangnick as interim boss first, Mauricio Pochettino being the club's #1 choice, and apparently the club even tried to get the Maurizio Sarri back, and Max Allegri also rejected the deal that week. Chelsea had such a little faith in Tuchel that they only offered him an 18-month contract. Oh, how inspiring. Such a lukewarm commitment. I know he won the European Cup, but Roberto Di Matteo also pulled off a Chelsea Champions League miracle, and yet that man wound up being a manager with the tactical insight of a sour milkshake, lasting just 124 days at Villa Park before being binned for Steve Bruce. I mean, come on. Look, it's no shame getting beaten 1-0 at the Etihad, but I'm sorry, ever since that Lisbon final, you've played Manchester City home and away, and one shot on target in 180 minutes. Is that really good enough? City could have stuck a fat Rob Green in nets, or better yet, a bin bag filled with dog piss. And worst case scenario, they'd only have conceded once. Thomas Tuchel in Premier League football has been nothing special. 41 games, 23 wins, 12 draws and 6 defeats. That is 18 games of football you have not won, some of which were brutal, conceding 5 at home to a team coached by Sam Allardyce, a West Brom team who weren't even allowed to have Conor Gallagher on the pitch that day, but especially since November, when Chelsea failed to beat Burnley at home, and Tuchel scoffed it off as being one of those things. Well, since then, you've won 4 of the last 12 league games, and of your last 6 matches at Stamford Bridge, you've won once. And even that was an unconvincing last minute 94th minute win, ground out against a struggling Leeds. Christ love it, you couldn't even beat Everton at home. Norwich can do that. As Chelsea manager, Tuchel is averaging out at about 72 points a season. Exactly the number Maurizio Sarri got, and he was fired on the spot. Last season, Tuchel squeaked Chelsea to 67 points, just 1 more point than a former Derby County coach managed at Stamford Bridge. You are 13 points behind in the title race in January. Don't you dare tell me that Abramovich isn't right now daydreaming about sticking Tuchel's face in a Russian lawnmower. To me, the German is a walking corpse. I mean, Carlo Ancelotti was sacked 1 year after winning the double. Antonio Conte was gone a year after leading Chelsea to 93 points in the league. And Jose Mourinho was sacked just 6 months after lifting the Premier League title. I promise you, after seeing their title challenge drowned in a bowl of Nesquik over Christmas, then Tuchel is going to be gone by Halloween. Trust me, this is happening. Wolves 3, Southampton 1. James Ward-Prowse is world class at free kicks. I know, the first part of that sentence was actually hard to say. The words Ward-Prowse and world class feels about as natural as me reciting an entire Shakespeare poem in the language of Swahili. Even now, after saying that, my tongue feels a bit like it's just been wiped across 3 meters of broken glass. I didn't think anything born and raised on the beaches of Portsmouth would ever wind up being world class at anything. I mean, I suppose Charles Dickens was a world-class writer from Portsmouth, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was a world-famous Terminator who lived in Pompey for a bit. Probably why the local Pure Gym toilets still stink of Austrian sweat and creatine poo. But Ward-Prowse, even that name alone, oh, it's about as exciting as being served a bowl of ear medicine for lunch. Ward-Prowse sounds like the name of someone who should be selling cat DVDs down the local HMVs. Yes, he resembles the modern-day Stephen Davis. Just a mid-table custard cream sandwich of a Southampton central midfielder, someone who would probably cut off his left ear to die with 10 England caps to his name. I know, he looks like the South Coast equivalent to Sean Longstaff, but I'm sorry, this man can look his children in the face and tell them that yes, he is a better free kick taker than Cristiano Ronaldo. And it wouldn't even be a lie. I'm sorry, this man is one of the best free kick takers on the planet, and arguably the second best in Premier League history. This guy just banged in his 12th Premier League free kick against Wolves, and it was a ridiculous 35-yard knuckleball. I'm sorry, if Ronaldo does that at Molyneux, then Sky Sports would be replaying that every hour until 2048. Christ up, he did it against Portsmouth 14 years ago, and it's still shown by BT Sports on every ad break. The thing about Ward-Prowse is that he's improving all the time with his set pieces. This was his 7th goal direct from a free kick since November 2020. That is mental. This man, he's going to overtake David Beckham and officially become the best Premier League free kick taker of all time. I know, utterly mental. Anyway, Wolves wound up winning the game 3-1. Raul Jimenez rolled in a penalty, Connor Cody smashed in a header, and yes, Adama Traore, a man with all the goal-scoring instincts of a teapot, he spanked it a third in the last minute. Aston Villa 2, Man United 2. Seeing Philippe Coutinho in an Aston Villa shirt, it still seems surreal. To me, it's like watching a dog drive a taxi, or seeing Bruce Willis wearing a skirt. To me, it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't fit. Listen, it would be easy to see a downtrodden Coutinho return to the Premier League looking like a disinterested penguin after failing at his dream club Barcelona while watching his Merseyside ex smother themselves in trophies. Oh, you wouldn't blame the Brazilian if he'd since resorted to drowning his sorrow every night at the bottom of a family bucket of chicken wings every single night of the week. Considering he's now just a Brazilian version of James Rodriguez, I wouldn't be surprised if he spent every night crying in front of the TV, shoveling handfuls of Ben & Jerry's into his gob. You know, the modern day Bridget Jones. Suddenly, he's 29 years of age and sitting on a bench with an elderly Ashley Young and surrounded by minors. To put it in context, Manchester United had £250 million worth of talent sitting on their bench, and Aston Villa by contrast, aside from Ashley Young and Loni Coutinho, had a bench full of kids. The likes of Kane Hayden, Cameron Archer, Carney Chukwuemeka, and Tim Origbunam. It's a bench that stinks of puberty. And Coutinho, surrounded by the TikTok Generation Z, watching a playmaker butt from Norwich City picked ahead of him. He must have felt his bowels tighten like a corkscrew. Sure, Luca D gets shoved straight in the starting 11, but he gets to watch a first half from the bench where his goalkeeper showed the concentration of Pingu, letting Bruno Fernandes speculative a free kick worm through his body to wind up in the back of the net. I know Emiliano Martinez is a top-class Copa America winning goalie, but in that moment, he looked like the South American Roy Carroll. And when Fernandes spanked in his second goal in off the crossbar in the 67th minute, whilst Coutinho was getting ready to enter as a substitute, you could have forgiven the downtrodden Brazilian for feeling like a miserable piece of chewing gum. But no, well done Aston Villa. Coutinho showed spark, energy and creativity. He bundled the ball through for Jacob Ramsey to stick into the top corner, and 4 minutes later, Ramsey was the one sweeping it across for Coutinho to bundle into the back of the net and earn a point. Fair play Aston Villa and Stevie G. You are assembling something brilliant at Villa Park, and Ramsey is to that manager what Mason Mount was to Frank Lampard. You know, the teacher's pet. Sure, I'm guessing Ramsey's probably allowed to sit on Stevie G's lap in the canteen, with a pair of them looking like some creepy ventriloquist act with the doll being fed lumps of candy floss out of Stephen's pocket. But Ozzy, trust me, Ramsey, just like Mount, he's going to wind up in the England squad before the year is out. But yeah, great point for Aston Villa for the second time in a week. They were all over Manchester United like a rash, and as for Ralph Rangnick, this is supposed to be his audition for the job on a permanent basis, right? Yeah, well, this is the equivalent of defecating on the floor in the middle of a job interview. If he is still Manchester United manager by August, I'll happily eat a bowl of mashed banana out of a toilet. Newcastle 1, Watford 1. Horrific. Newcastle, I'm sorry, your transfer spending, oh, it's not enough. Kieran Trippier is a top-class arrival from Atletico Madrid, but I'm sorry. How many teams survive in the Premier League solely based on the strength of their right back? Sure, Chris Wood is a clever signing from Burnley, which has probably caused the Turf more faithful to have a collective nosebleed from their face, but it's not enough. Yes, Alisson Maximin spanked Newcastle ahead with a quality solo goal, but I'm sorry. Watford under Claudio Ranieri is a disorganised cat food sandwich. They had lost their last 7 games, so coming into this frenetic St. James's Park arena, they could and should have been skinned alive and eaten for brunch. Instead, Eddie Howe's men were only able to stick 1 shot on target. Crazy, well, Ben Foster might as well have spent the game doing TikTok reels on the penalty spot. It didn't matter. Aside from Sam Maximin, nobody in the Newcastle team had the shred of confidence needed to have a go on goal. Crazy, well, they were like a recovering alcoholic in a nightclub, just refusing to take a damn shot. So when João Pedro hits in that 87th minute equaliser, you could almost hear the city's heart break at once. Newcastle were 3 minutes away from dragging themselves out of the relegation zone. Instead, you end the weekend sitting behind Norwich. And who are we kidding? Burnley have 3 games in hand, a possible 9 points. So Newcastle, the richest club on the planet, are effectively rock bottom of the Premier League. And February is right around the corner. This season, it's putrid. Utterly putrid. Newcastle United, 1 win all season. And to put it in context, this team have less points at this stage of the season than Sunderland had under David Moyes. And they were the division's laughingstock, picking Jack Rodwell every week. Honestly, this is disgusting. Norwich 2, Everton 1. Okay, first of all, I want to congratulate Adam Ida, the 20-year-old Corkman who finally, after 17 games, finally has his first Premier League goal. The Canaries have just lost 6 games in a row, but the scary thing is, this isn't even a shock to me. This was my prediction.
Travelling to Norwich City to face a manager who's already tactically smacked you about like a pinata made of egg whites. I mean, do you remember when Everton lost 3-0 at Villa Park? Aussie, Everton usually lose every time they set foot on a football pitch these days. So yeah, I can see a 1-0 Norwich win.
This isn't a surprise because Everton are now arguably the worst team in the Premier League. 19 points from 19 games is borderline horrific, but it's getting worse. Everton have only won 1 game from the last 13 in the Premier League. And even that was a lucky last minute win against Arsenal. I know Benitez has been sacked and I will do an entire video about that tomorrow. But listen, this isn't just about Rafa. This is the consequence of spending fat chunks of cash on absolutely rubbish footballers to the point now where the owner has burnt fingers and will only sanction £1 million deals and loan signings. Chuck in a long-term injury to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the decision to give up on a genuine world star like James Rodriguez, factor in the Everton fan base who found it revolting to see a Liverpool legend sitting in their dugout, and yeah, that's how you get this toxic situation where the Toffees are in a relegation scrap. But yes, Benitez video coming tomorrow. West Ham 2, Leeds 3. Yeah, right now I'm guessing West Ham fans are hyperventilating into a McDonald's burger bag. These are the sort of games you need to be winning if you are serious about playing Champions League football next season. Don't let Jack Harrison, a man who so far this season has had the end product of a fat coffee cup, don't let him walk onto your pitch and net a hat-trick. Aussie, for the Hammers, it doesn't look good. Tottenham are 4 points behind you with 4 games in hand. Even Manchester United and Arsenal can go above you if they win their matches in hand, and Wolves have the ability to draw level on points. I'm guessing Jared Bowen, having neglected the chance to head the ball into the net for a 3-3, to instead try and flick it with his chest. I'm guessing right now he's smacking his head off the fridge. Liverpool 3, Brentford 0. Arguably the most routine result of the weekend. Yeah, Brentford travelled to Anfield to play a blunted Liverpool. 0 fuss, 3-0 win. Goals from Fabinho, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Takumi Minamino, all done without Salah and Mane. So yeah, Liverpool fans, you can now all breathe a sigh of relief. Brighton 1, Crystal Palace 1. I was so confident Crystal Palace would win this match, and I was close. Listen to this.
This is the battle of a media hotshot versus a young manager who's actually going to leave a serious indelible mark on the game. Aussie, Conor Gallagher's going to run the show in midfield. I'm going to go for a pretty comfy 2-0 Palace win.
Yep, Conor Gallagher got on the score sheet. Yes, Palace could have won the match 2-0, but no. Joachim Andersen has to stick into his own net. And Brighton do it again, scrambling a 1-1 draw for about the 15th time this season. Ridiculous. What do you think? Alright, let me know in the comment section below. What do you think about your team's performance this weekend? Let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.